I built a pretty basic 15-foot by 15-foot vegetable garden with a welded wire fence in my backyard, and so far I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. I started out by paying attention to the shade and the sun in my yard, and then I picked a spot that would give my veggies enough sun throughout the day. I wanted to get rid of the grass and loosen up the soil for the area, so I used an electric rototiller. It did not rip up the soil as well as I thought it would, but it eventually did the job. My yard is mostly clay, so I grabbed lots of topsoil and mulch to create a lighter, richer base layer for the garden that hopefully has some better drainage as well.
Thank you.
We have lots of deer in western PA, so I decided to put up a welded wire fence to hopefully keep the deer out. Once I laid my stakes out, I used a post driver to drive them into the ground. Working with the welded wire fence itself was the most difficult part of this whole project. The roll was quite heavy and never seemed to do what I wanted it to do. And putting the clips on was also quite difficult, even though I paid for this special tool that was supposed to help me get them on. Lo and behold, I did get the fence all together and I was able to start working on the interior of the garden. I used some cut tree branches to design the layout for my garden beds. My hope here was that I'd be able to pile up some dirt and mulch where the garden beds are so that they would be higher than the walking path. That way they would hopefully drain to the lower areas and not hold too much water. I wasn't planning on it, but I did end up laying down some cardboard just on the walking paths just to eliminate some weeding. Then I threw down lots of fine natural mulch, which will eventually break down into nice soil, hopefully. Then I put topsoil and compost onto all of the raised garden beds and raked them together. Lastly, I added some fine mulch to my raised garden beds as well. Once the garden was done, I added some finishing touches with some stone. I put in some plants, which may be getting a bit waterlogged with all this rain, but I added all of my potted plants, some trees, some bushes, and I am very pleased with how the garden has turned out so far. If you've ever made a garden, you know that you are never done, and I have lots of plans ahead for this, but for now, I'll be content with what I've done so far. Thank you guys so much for checking out my garden. Please let me know in the comments below what plans you have for your garden this year. Peace and love.